Hello everybody, Randy Lanham here, Education Director at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum in downtown Owensboro, the Bluegrass Music capital of the world.
Yeah.
Yes, we appreciate you so much tuning in. We're going to be talking about the coolest instrument in bluegrass music, obviously the fiddle today, right? Anyway, let's start with a good old tune, one called Turkey in the Straw. Kick that song
that
off
was
a little too fast. But that was a good time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a little bit of turkey in the straw. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I'm going to be talking to you about the fiddle. Like I said, my name is Randy Lanham, the Education Director here. I'm so blessed to be able to help. Chris over here does private lessons for us, and we do group lessons on fiddle, guitar, mandolin, banjo. Of course, you teach anything with a string on it.
That's right.
Right? Private lessons, group lessons. We have online lessons, bluegrassmusicacademy.org, where I'm teaching fiddle, mandolin, and guitar. You can go on there and check that out. We got all kinds of things going on, and we ain't got to get into all of that. But anyway, I want to talk just a little bit about the fiddle, violin, right? They're actually... I got to tell you a little story. The fiddle was around before the violin. Oh, I just made some people mad. They're like, what? This is technically a violin when I'm playing here today. It's actually a pretty cool instrument. It's got a carved head on it. It's got some beautiful paintings on the back. It is definitely a beautiful instrument and something to talk about, but I play it because it's got such a beautiful tone. Technically, this is a violin, but the violins created the way they were in the 1500s, but even before then, they're Italian instruments, by the way, just so you know. But even before then, there was instruments called fiddles that were played by common folk that played folk music for dancers and dances and different things like that. And so the fiddle has been around a long, long time. They can't even trace back how far the fiddle actually goes. But what happened when the violin came along, these fiddle players discovered that the violin had a little bit better sound to it. They were made a little bit different, easier to play, less strings. And so these fiddle players started picking up these violins and started playing them, but they were still playing them the same way. Now fast forward all these hundreds of years later, if you're playing the style of folk music, bluegrass, country, gospel, something like that, most people will say, oh, he's playing the fiddle, she's playing the fiddle. But say I was in the orchestra playing, I might, play something like this, they would call it a violin. But we are talking about the fiddle today, so we're going to be calling it a fiddle, even though technically it is a violin. But let's fast forward. If we're talking about fiddles, we have to talk about the Irish and the Scottish music. It's been around a long, long time, always had fiddle players, and they really, the purpose of a fiddle was to play for dancers. So they played a lot of what's called jigs, and as you're fixing to hear me play one called the Swallowtail Jig, you're going to see it's very easy to pat your foot to, or dance to, or move to. Just because the rhythmic bowing and the way these songs were written, sometimes they didn't have a guitar or a bass or other instruments. It may have been 3 or 4 fiddles alone playing for dancers, right? So what they do, they had to come up with music that had a lot of rhythmic bowing so that it would make it easier for people to dance to, as you're fixing to hear right now in the Swallowtail Jig. You want to do this, boys? 1, 2, 3, 4. these fantastic musicians. Chris Armstrong playing the guitar, Chris Joslin playing the bass.
Bookended by Chris's.
Yeah, you know what? These guys play so many instruments, are so good. So I appreciate you guys backing me up here on these tunes. Well, let's fast forward just a little bit. Let's talk about Bill Monroe and bluegrass music. We are in the bluegrass music capital of the world. When Bill Monroe was born and raised right down the road in Rosine, Kentucky, a little town about a 30-minute drive from here. We've all been down there and played with those folks, and we're always down there working with those folks. We love it because here we are in Owensboro. Here they are 30 minutes down the road in Rosine, Kentucky, where they have the Bill Monroe Museum, the Bill Monroe Home Place, his burial spot, and all of that. So we work really well together with Rosine community, promoting bluegrass. That's what we're doing. We're here to promote bluegrass music. But when Bill grew up, he played at a lot of square dances. He went to square dances. A lot of people don't know he was actually a good square dancer. Yeah, he actually took a job as a square dancer for a short amount of time before he got into music, doing it professionally for a living. But he would grow up, his Uncle Penn played the fiddle. Matter of fact, his Uncle Penn's fiddle is actually literally behind this wall, right, in the museum. So you can come and see Uncle Penn's fiddle. His mom played the fiddle. His older brother played the fiddle. Man, he was around a lot of fiddle players and loved that kind of music. So I thought I'd give you a little sample of some music they would have played at some square dances when Bill Monroe grew up playing. So they did these hoedowns or breakdowns, they would call them. Of course, the fast dances. I'm going to do one called the Soldier's Joy. So much fun because my granddad John Lanham taught me that song. He was an old-time fiddle player. You played lots of music with my granddad through the years, and the thing about bluegrass music, what I love about it is a lot of people pass it down from generation to generation. All of us have been blessed to be able to teach younger generations a lot of music. We have jam sessions in this very room on Saturdays and Sundays. Man, there's people that come in all ages, playing all kinds of instruments, all different levels. You know what? If you're not that experienced of a musician, it does not matter. Bring it on and come in here on these jam sessions and play along with us. We love to have it. We love to pass this music on. We love to make other people feel welcome in playing this music as well. I got off track there a little bit. I do want to do a waltz.
Yeah.
We were talking about the square dancing. I grew up playing at these square dances. And this is another song. My granddad taught me that last song, Soldier's Joy. He also taught me this song, one called The Rose of Sharon. So this would be an example of a waltz they would have played at a square dance where Bill grew up. 2, 3, 1, 2. that song. I can remember growing up, and Granddad and his buddies would play that song, and I fell in love with it and learned it a long time ago. Again, what a great honor and pleasure it is to be able to not only learn this music, but to be able to pass it on to the next generation, and everybody's always welcome. Well, I want to keep moving on. Bill Monroe, he grew up at the little church actually he went to is still down there in Rosine, Kentucky. And he grew up, gospel music has always been a big influence to Bill. He always recorded gospel on all of his records. He performed gospel music at every one of his shows. It was always real important. So I thought it'd only be fair to honor Bill and do a gospel song. This is one, again, another song that my granddad played, John Lanham, called What a Friend We Have in Jesus. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's another good one. That's another good one. And I tell you again, that's just to give you some ideas on how the fiddle worked its way into bluegrass music. Always a huge influence to Bill Monroe. Again, his mom played and brother played and Uncle Penn played. And even when he was learning the mandolin, he was learning fiddle tunes on his mandolin to play. That gospel music, the blues music. Arnold Schultz, an African-American from down in Ohio County, was known as one of the greatest musicians in that area. Everybody loved him. He was a great friend to Bill Monroe. Mm-hmm. He played the fiddle and the guitar, and even taught Bill a little bit of the blues music, so he worked that blues music into his music later on in life, and just a huge influence on thumb picking. Right, the Muhlenberg County thumb pickers, and just all of these influences. And that just goes to show you again, here at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum, we're trying to take these traditions and keep them alive. My granddad told me one time, he told me 1,000 times, Randy, pass this music along, teach it to the younger generation, keep it alive, keep people playing it. And we do that. We're so blessed. We teach thousands of people. Between the private lessons and the group lessons and the online lessons and the assemblies and the bluegrass in the schools and all of this thing. We're just so blessed to be able to do that. Well,
so Randy, I wanted to ask, you mentioned your grandfather John Lanham several times, and tell us the story on this fiddle, the one that you're playing, because I see you, every time I see you playing, you're playing this fiddle.
This fiddle, so yeah, I'm glad you asked that. That's a great story, because this fiddle was actually bought by my granddad at a yard sale, but it was in a box of pieces. Granddad said he had gone to a yard sale and they had a fiddle for sale, not this one, and he said, well, I'm interested in buying some fiddles. Do you have any more? And he said they brought out a box. He said, well, we got one. I guess he figured nobody wanted a broken fiddle that was in pieces. He brought out literally a box, and it had this fiddle in there, was broke all apart in pieces. And so what he did was took it to a luthier who fixed it up for him. And I nicknamed this the Frankenstein fiddle, because if you look really close, you can see a lot of parts from other fiddles that they had to place in there because it was missing parts. And one of the best things about it is this beautiful back on here. Look at that back. Ain't that pretty? The painting and the engravings, and it's just beautiful to look at. And then this head up here, it took me a whole day to whittle that thing out with a pocket knife. No, I'm kidding. A beautiful carving of a head. So it's a wonderful instrument. Some people nickname it the Jesus fiddle because it looks like Jesus on the back there. Some folks say that these fiddles were made for royalty, people with a lot of money, that this old man would carve his head on the top, and whoever he was making the fiddle for, he would paint a picture of them on the back. So, yeah, lots of stories about this fiddle.
So I know it has a sentimental value, but you could play any fiddle you want. I mean, does it really sound great too? I know has a great story. You can play anything, so it must feel great in your hands.
Yes. Huh? This fiddle, ever since the first time I played it, I totally fell in love with the tone. Yeah. Obviously, it's cool to show people all that carving and stuff, and they, man. But the tone of this fiddle is just absolutely beautiful. And you all both will agree with me. There's certain instruments, when you put them in your hands and you play them, they have a feel, a touch, a tone, a sound that just resonates within you, right? Yeah. And then when you find those kind of instruments, you might play hundreds of instruments before you grab that one that feels like home, feels like, man, this was the one for me. I've played lots of fiddles since this one, but I not have picked one up and played it that has spoken to me the way this one does. I mean, it was meant to be for me. That's all I can say. I thank the Lord for it. That's that it landed for me, because what a great sounding fiddle.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. Let's we're gonna take a break here in a little bit and come back and do our play along song. But before we do, there's a song I bet a lot of these folks out here have heard, one called the Orange Blossom Special. Bill Monroe actually recorded this with Chubby Wise back years ago, made it famous. Yeah. So let's do a little bit of the Orange Blossom Special. What do you say, boys? Chris, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, here we go.
We see how fast we can get this fiddle going. They don't want to see me play fast, though. You think?
Probably not.
Yeah. Well, let's do it anyway.
Okay.
Y'all hang on, boys.
At the Bluegrass Music Academy, we believe in the power of music to bring generations together. With our online courses, everyone can learn to play, from the first note to the final song. Join us today and discover the joy of bluegrass music.
All right, welcome back. Get those instruments out, get them tuned up. I don't care what instrument it is, getting the key of D's. All you got to know, right? We're going to do You Are My Sunshine. 1, 2, 3.
Sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Play it again.
Yeah. Sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Just tag it, boys.
Please don't take my sunshine away. Yeah.
Chris, thank y'all for playing along with me. I hope you learned a little something and had fun, and we will see you the next time.